Hello again, it's Greg Bell from Ray White Surfers Paradise. I'm back here with Michael on part 2 of one of the best interviews I've had the privilege of doing. Tell me about the auction process. You developed the skills as time went by. You know, if any seller's thinking of selling, what do you see as the advantages in today's market about even back then?
Well, the biggest thing with an auction, I think, if you have a good agent marketing your property, and I've always, you know, properties that I've owned, I've engaged another agent to auction them. So I do believe in the process where I will put my money on the line on advertising campaign to get the right result, and, you know, obviously do my best to get the right real estate agent to do it for me. You know, I think on the day of the auction, if you have multiple bidders there, as a seller, you are negotiating with multiple contracts at the same time, if that makes sense. Multiple buyers offering you, you know, different prices, but all on the same terms, at a one given point in time, where you certainly, as a seller, I think, are more in the box seat rather than negotiating one-on-one with a potential buyer. Like, I think if you, as a seller, would like to get the best price that's out there, you know, at a given time, and, you know, want to get the job done, I want to move on for whatever the reason might be, I honestly truly believe that an auction done by the right agent is, you know, is probably the strongest and best way for you as a seller to achieve that outcome.
Yeah, and tell me, can you recall what your best auction ever was?
Oh, man, there is some highlights where, and there's also been some failures, and I'll be the first one to admit that, and you learn from them and get better, I guess. But, you know, you know, the best one ever, you know, without a doubt, was at a reserve was $2 million on the property, and, you know, we got the bidding to 2 million or a bit past 2 million, like 2.1 or something, and, you know, you're still trying, because the owner wasn't present, you try to call the owner to say, hey, you know, we're at 2.1, you know, we're going to put it on the market, you okay with that? Because I think it's just courtesy, even that I've said yes to a reserve of 2 million, and we couldn't get hold of the owner. The bidding kept going to 2.4 million. I tried to call the gentleman again, and, you know, it went to message bank, and the bidding kept going, and so I went, well, I've got no choice really, you know, you've told me that in the written reserve it was 2 million, so, you know, we could put it on the market and do the job and get it sold, and it was put on the market at 2.4, and the bidding kept going, and we just kept doing our job rather than trying to ring the owner, because there's no use to ring again because you've made the decision now, just keep moving forward. And we ended up selling it for $5 million and $5,000, so $3 million and $5,000 over the reserve. So, you know, I think very ecstatically happy owner when we finally got hold of him that afternoon. You know?
Yeah. Tell me about working under the Ray White banner. Have you enjoyed your 26 years of the corporate Ray White?
Yeah, look, a few people have asked me that just on the social. You know, you talk socially, go out for dinner with someone, you have a glass of red, whatever, you have a chat about things. And the best and shortest way to explain it, I think the Ray White company, the Ray White family, whichever is the right way to say it, they care more about doing the right thing and their reputation being intact than the money in their pocket, if that makes sense. And you know, they want to make sure that all their customers and clients, you know, when walk away and very happy with the result or the way they were treated. And I think it's nice to have that, when that is much more important in a transaction than anything else, or in your own business. I think you can grow a wonderful business. I think, you know, all the way from the top down, I think that filters through that, you know, they really, really care about all their clients and customers.
Yeah, and in that 26 years, you must have seen the massive growth within the organisation. Mm-hmm. You know, here we are in Indonesia and Asia, in America and so on. So it's, you know, a marvellous thing. And you're right about the White family. Their sole aim is, with pride, is to protect what Ray started in 1905.
Just doing the right thing, you know, and it's not that hard. And I think, you know, it's not just about business. I think generally in life you should do the right thing, mate. It's not that difficult.
And the training, tell me about the training they put on. You've really grasped it over the years.
I enjoy it. I think that no matter how long you've been there, no matter how much you think you know everything, you can keep learning, and I think you don't stop learning until, you know, maybe the day you sort of leave this earth.
Yeah.
And
And you're working with Mark McLeod still, so guys,
I do. Like,
experienced as you, to be able to say, listen, I don't know everything, and I need to know everything that's happening in the modern world of real estate?
Well, Mark, obviously I met Mark when I first started with you guys, as Mark was, I think, co-owner of the business at that time. And, I don't think Mark has a bad bone in his body, if that makes sense. And, Mark is about doing the right thing, and he can explain it in a non-sophisticated way, straight to the point, and it's crystal clear. And, I've always held Mark very high in his knowledge of the business, his logic behind the business. And I'll be the first one to admit that, I'm on a path of continuous growth, and there's probably there is a number of other things I'd like to achieve throughout it all. And I think in terms of having, some guidance and some training, whatever you want to call it, managing, I think he's a terrific guy to have that conversations with, and to help in the process. And his intent is nothing but good. So how can you do that?
I give Ray White corporate credit. The resources they have is
second to none. Second to none. I think I look at it and I go, if I was an outsider employing me to sell a property, would I employ me as the person that I am, or would I employ me as the person that I am with the Ray White banner? Me as the person that I am with the Ray White banner is better than me as the person that I am. So I think if that has that much value to me, I think it would be logical that it would have that much value or more value to customers.
Yeah. And tell me, working for the Ray White Surfers Paradise Group, what's been the experience?
And this is not because we're talking here, because as you know, there's probably very rare that I'll say something in front of a camera, because I kind of just like doing my own thing and just going home, to the family and enjoying my life.
It took a bit to get him here, but we've got him.
But no, look, I could never, and I'm not saying this because I'm here on camera, because I'll tell you what I think, but I could never say a bad thing about you and your brother. Like, I think you've always treated me perfectly, as in terms of like, mate, it's been wonderful. And I think from everyone else that has come through the door here, what I can tell, there's lots of agents you've got here that have been here for a long time. And I think when people stay for a long time, that says something about the management in place, and not just you and your brother, some of the other people here that run some of the show, I think, do a great job. Yeah.
So then, having achieved the tops of the residential market, was there any particular reason you decided to move across to commercial?
Yep, very definite. Look, I've always enjoyed that, some of the commercial sales, and I do like the aspect of a commercial transaction. And the commercial transaction is, a lot of it is, facts, figures and logic. And there's some emotion with it also, whilst the residential is probably maybe a little bit more emotional at times. But the biggest driver was that, I had my first child at the age of 45. And, life's been kind to me, I suppose, work-wise and things along those lines. And I thought, most likely we'll only have, my daughter, and I want to make sure that I can spend some time with her and do things. I don't want to sort of grow old and not go to any of her school things and everything else, And plus also, Jackson and Emerson are my two step boys. I just want to hang out with them too. And with commercial, you do get a bit more of a luxury, having less weekend work than in residential, because residential, I think you owe it to your seller to be there Saturday and Sunday. So commercial is a fair bit less in that weekend transactions. So I really would get the time, spare to spend with my wife and the 3 kids. And we try and, I think we're balancing it out okay. I think we're spending plenty of time with everyone. And
was it a difficult transition?
No, and that's maybe a bit of maybe it's arrogance, I don't know. I didn't really think about it as difficult. I never thought about it. That's what I want to do, and let's get into it and do it. It's not going to hurt anyone. If it didn't work, well, it would maybe I'd have to go back to residential, but I never thought about it not working. I sort of go, well, I've read these things like most people do, but there is no plan B, there is no backup plan. This is it, and let's make it happen. And I think with a lot of hard work and doing the right thing, I don't understand how it would actually not work, you know what I mean?